Hello guys, welcome to this YouTube channel. In this particular tutorial, I'm going to be showing you how to create this awesome UI design, this login and sign up design. So make sure you stick through to the very end. Enjoy.
The first thing to do is to create a frame. If you create what we call a frame. Now to create a frame, you click here and then you see the option frame. You click on frame. By the time you click on the frame, you can now see different types of frames which you can call up and use. So for this particular tutorial, I'm going to be making use of the iPhone 8. The iPhone 8. So creating the frame, you can see this comes up. So it's more like a form where you create your design. More like a form where you create your design. Now the next thing to do is to create. Now, if you have a logo, you can make use of the image of the logo you have. I'm going to be making use of a plugin and we're going for humans for Figma. Okay, so when you click on that, so this comes up. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be making use of this. I'm going to be making use of this and this as well, and this shape as well. I'll be making use of the two. So let me resize this. So to resize this, you just pull it in, drag it in from the edge. Then I'm going to drag this into the shape, into the circle shape. Then I can now move this as a whole. Now to zoom out, if you have a mouse, it will be quite easier for you to zoom out and navigate. So I'll pick the frame and I'll drop it here. So this is my logo. So if you have any logo you want to use, you can use that image. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to be making use of this. So the next thing for me to do is to select the image, the colors, to select the colors I want. If this color is okay by you, you can go ahead. But the next thing to do, I'm going to select the colors. And then take note, on the right hand side, which is this panel here, we can see that we have the properties of these shapes which we have here. Then on the layers by the left hand side, you can now see the different controls or the different objects that make up this frame. So clicking on this, you can see this comes up to the symbol. Clicking on this, that's the object behind, more like the ball object or the circle object. Now clicking on this is just for that looks like the flower. That looks like the flower. So let's change the color of the ball. So to do that, we come to the right hand side where we have the properties. So for now, we'll be dealing with the feel. The feel. So I would like to give it a color like this. Okay, when this comes up, of course, you can drag this around and then pick any color of your choice. So I want to give it a light color. I think this is okay. Then the next thing to do is to select this object. So on the layers, you can either come here or you click on the object directly. And then to change this as well. Now if you notice, the first color, the first selection here deals with this part of the flower. Then the second one deals with this part where you can see this color. And the last one deals with this one extended up here. So you can as well change all the colors to whatever you want. So let me take that. And then the other one, I think it's okay where it is. I think it's okay where it is. Then that of the frame, we can make that of the ball object. lighter. Let's make it lighter. Next thing to do is to add a shape. Remember, the user has to enter the username and the password, the email address and the password to log in. Remember, we are working on a login app, So to create that object, we will be making use of this object here. So to create that particular username and login, we'll be making use of this object here, the rectangle, making use of the rectangle. So to pick the rectangle, you just click there and then come here and draw it exactly where you want it to be. I think here is okay. So you drop it down here. And then looking at the edge, we have to finish the edge. So to work on the edge, you click on the triangle, you click on the rectangle, and then come to this part, which is the corner radius. So adjusting this, you can see the corner is straightening up and is becoming more oval in shape. And I think this is okay. I think 26 is okay. You can still increase this and take it higher than this, but I think this is okay for me. So if this is for the username, you can also create this for the password. If this is for the email address, you can also create another one for the password. So for me to do that, all I have to do is to copy and paste. Okay, all I have to do is to copy, of course, Control C, and then I Control V, I paste. Now I drag it down. I think this shape is okay and this layout is okay. So the first one is for the username, and then the second one is for the password. Now we have to create a placeholder which tells the people what the box is for. So let the first one be the email address. I can call it the username. Let's call it the username. And the username, I have to increase the size. I think 14 is okay. So to be able to make use of that, I can also copy and then I paste and then I drag it down. Then you also have to make sure that it aligns. So I can change this to the password. So the first step is for the username, the placeholder, telling them that this is for the username, and the second placeholder tells them that this is for the password. Now, let's work on this. The color, let's change this color. So to change this color, we have to come to fill. Remember, on the right hand side, we have the properties. We have the properties of this object, which we have here. So you can change the properties to suit whatsoever you want. Let's change the color to white. Now, by the time we change it to white, remember the background is also white. So we can't really see the object, but it's still there. So let's add a side stroke. You can see we now have a side stroke. Then the effect, let's add an effect here. A drop shadow should do. And then this, let's take it to white. Let's make the stroke white. Let's make the stroke to be white and then the drop shadow. I think this is okay. So you can see we have a drop shadow here. Now we also have another effect there, which is the inner shadow. If you click on the inner shadow, it's something like this. The inner shadow. Well, let's make use of the drop shadow. So same thing, let's do same thing to this other object which we have here. So we take the background to be white, and then we add a stroke, then make that stroke to be white as well, and then the effect, drop shadow. I think this is okay. Then remember, this is a placeholder. So let's change the color of the placeholder. The color of the placeholder to a gray-like text instead of black. With a gray-like text will do. I think this is okay. So to save time, what you can copy the color, you can copy the color code, click here, and then paste it here. So that is another way you can quickly do that. Now we have to add the forgot password. The forgot password. Forgot password. Let's align it to this. To this. Okay, and we have that. So I think this is going on so fine. So the next option, we have to add a button. Add a button, which by the time the user clicks on the button, they are able to sign in into this application. So to add the button, you can also make use of the rectangle. So let's also pick this shape. I think it's much easier to pick up this shape. Let's copy this shape and then we paste. And then we paste and change the color. Let's change the fill. So to change the color, that's the fill. We can change the color to what we want. Now another way which makes this so much easier to pick colors is that you can use this tool here, the picker. So by the time you click on that, you just drop it on any object and automatically this inherits the color of that object. So if I'm to drop it here and see, this becomes the color immediately. It adopts this color. If I'm to drop it on this text, you see, it takes the color of the text. So let me use this color and pick this color. I think we are okay. Now, of course, there should be a text in here telling the user to sign in. That this is the option to sign in. This is the option to sign in. So adjust this. You can use the arrow up keyboard, the arrow up and down keys on the keyboard to adjust this to what you want. Or you can still drag as well and make sure it aligns before you drop. Now let's make a little adjustment. Let's move up this frame. Let's move up the frame. And then another thing is, after working on this, anything can happen. What if a case where you are trying to adjust something and mistakenly, boom, you see this object is out of shape? You can use the Ctrl Z to correct that. But another way to make this so much easier for you is you can group the objects so that by the time you want to move this, you don't just move them object by object or one item at a time. You now move everything together. So to do that, just highlight this, then you right click, and then you see the option to group. So group selection. You can also use the shortcut Ctrl G. Ctrl G also does that. So you group the selection. You can now see I can now move this as one. It's now seen as a one object. So let's drop this here. I think this is okay. Then same thing applies to this. So you can, because remember we have two objects here. We have the rectangle, which gives us this button. We have this button, and then we have a text in here. So if I'm to move this, you can see only the button moves. The text is still there. Let me Ctrl Z, go back. So you can also group this as well. Group selection, so that I can now move it as one. Now we move down to the next level. The next thing, let's use the rectangle as well. Let's align it to this. Let's copy this. and let's paste it. Now for these, let's work on the corner radius. Remember the corner radius. The corner radius, I think this is okay for me. 17. You have 17. So let's take this to 17 as well. Yeah. Now for this, let's change the color, the background color to white. We'll change the background color to white, and then the other one, the background color also goes to white. The background color also goes to white. Then just like we did here, we have to change the stroke. The stroke, let's take it to white and then add an effect. Okay, we have the drop shadow there. Now the next one, white, add the stroke, take it to white, and then the effect, let's add, I think let's make this the inner shadow. Let's make this the inner shadow. This comes down and the inner shadow up. Okay, so the next thing to do is to create. So we want to give them, remember this part deals with, want to give them an option to sign in. So in the case where they don't want to log in or sign in using their username or their password, they can get in using their Facebook details, their Facebook account, or also log in using their Google account. So to do that, we will be needing the Facebook icon, the Facebook icon. So to get that, if you don't have that, you can quickly search Facebook icon on Google. Facebook icon on Google. And then when it comes up, you can either download from here. If you can't find what you want here, you can go to images, click on images. So by the time you click on images, you now have a variety of them. So you can click on any one and download. But for me right now, I have it on my desktop. So same thing applies to that of Google. You can also search the Google icon, or you can search the Google logo. Either the Google logo or the Google icon or the Facebook logo. It also gives you same thing. So you download them. I have them on my desktop now. So for me to pick that, all I have to do, I have them here, as you can see. So let me add that of the Facebook. So to add that of the Facebook, this is so much easy. Figma is so much easy. Now what you have to do is to drag this icon, the icon into the software. You can see it's now here. So I've imported this particular icon. There's also another way of doing that, where you have file and then you go to you click on the Figma icon here, which is the menu. You click on the Figma icon, you go to file, and then you click on place image. When you click on place image, from here you can now select the source. You have the image here, and then you can now add it up. So you can see I have the image coming in here now. Okay, so for that of the Facebook, I'll have to adjust this because definitely you can see where it's going to fit in. So I'm going to reduce this so much. Yeah, I think that is okay. And same thing applies to the Google. I have to reduce that of the Google as well. So the Facebook comes in here. The Facebook goes in here. And then we're going to have a text right by that saying Facebook. So let me make sure that this text aligns to the object. Now same thing applies to this part of the Google, and call it up here. Now to work on this, I can also use the size, the width and the height of this particular image. You see, you have 34 by 26. 34 by 26, and that of the Google is 28 by 28. So you have 34 by 26. Let's take this to 34 by 26. Okay. Then I think it's there and it's properly aligned. Let's copy this text as well and paste there. And then I can now use my keyboard. I'm using my keyboard to move it, or you can use your mouse to move it as well. So let me change this to Google. Now we have to change the color. Let's work on the color of this text. It's on default, which is black. Let's change the color. Let me use a picker. Let's use this blue. I think this is much better. Then same thing applies to this for the text of Google. Come to fill. Let's change the color of that text and take it to blue as well. Oh, I took it to white. Let's pick this color, the blue. Okay, yeah. I think this is so much better. Let's take this off a little. Yeah, I think this is better. So let's zoom out and see what it looks like. Yeah, I think this is okay. Now remember, it's either they sign in using the username and the password, or they come in using the Facebook. So we need a test here. We need a test. Let me paste this. We need a test here saying or. Yeah, or. Let's change the color. Let's put this color. Oh, this. Okay, so the idea is they come into the application, they enter their username and the password, and then they sign in. In a case where they don't want to go in using their username and their password, they can go in using the Facebook details or the Google details. Now, in a case where they have not registered and they're coming in for the first time, so they need to sign up. So let's add a test here. Let's add a test here. Don't have an account. Then you have sign up. Those that don't have an account, they can sign up. Now let's change the color. Let's don't have an account. And make use of this. Then sign up. Let's make use of this. I think this is okay. Now let's change the corner radius of this app, of the form, of the frame entirely. Let's work on the corner radius. So you just look at the corners here. You're going to see the difference. Let's work on the corner radius. I'm increasing it. Okay, I think this is better. Now let's also adjust this a little. Now we can also group this as well to avoid mistakes of moving them by mistake or whatsoever. So let's group that selection so that we can move them at once. Yeah, this is much better. Now this is for the login. the login. Now let's work on this quickly. Let's quickly work on the sign up page. We can also change the name of this by clicking here, and then we can say login page. This is the login page. Let's quickly add up another frame. Let's add up another frame. Let's also use iPhone 8. iPhone 8. Now this is going to be the sign up page. The sign up page. So to work on the sign up page, we can make this so much easier by copying this. We copy this and paste it right here on the sign up page. Then the sign up page is going to have their full name, the email address, and the password. So let's copy this as well and paste here. I'll paste that here. Now remember, this is group, so we have to ungroup. This is a group, so we have to ungroup. So to ungroup, we right click and click on group. Now we can bring this further down. And then let's copy this. Let's also paste that down there. Okay, so this becomes the full name. Full name. Then they enter their username and then their password. Then there's no need for this here, so I can delete that by hitting the delete button on the keyboard. So let's copy the button and also paste the button right here. Now instead of sign in, we're going to have get started. Let's make that get started. Get started. And let's move this up a little bit. And then the frame goes up a little bit. Then let's also add up this option right there. So we copy this, click on the frame, and then we paste. So we'll move it down here. So let's still adjust this a little bit. We still have an option to come in on the footer of the page. Okay, then let's pick this text here. Let's copy this text and then paste it there. Now here we're going to say already have an account. Already have an account, sign in. Okay. Let's create a placeholder in here. Info at gmail.com. And let's copy that and paste as well. So let's copy that and paste. And copy that and paste. Okay, I can change this to the placeholder password asterisk. So I can copy this text and also paste it on the sign up page for the placeholder. Then let's copy this username as well, and let's have it right here. Then we can also still paste that again. And then can make this, let's change the text in here. Okay, let's change the text in here to John Doe. Okay, we have this. Let's work on the corner radius. The corner radius, we have this to be 42. So let's take this to 42 as well. Okay, I believe you were able to follow me up to this stage. So if you have any questions regarding what we have done so far, please leave a comment below. Please do well to share with your friends and hit the subscription button to get updates when we make new videos. Thank you.